Chelsea Football Club get 2 individual awards for Enzo Maresca and Cole Palmer for the month of September. However, we need to talk about the 2 Chelsea boys that were humiliated by the Greeks yesterday. Greece 2, England 1 at Wembley. And we need to talk about what happened. And for me, there are 2 key aspects, right? One's political and the second one is Lee Cosley bottled it. And I'll explain to you why. The reality is he had to be strong in his decisions, and he was not. Furthermore, we've got an update on Rees James. There are huge changes in the way the Premier League is going to be broadcasted. And for those of you in America, you're going to love it purely based on the fact that you already get this with your sports. And I love watching the NBA, and this aspect of it is going to be wonderful. And finally, Christopher Nkunku. He starts for the French and he slaps in a goal, and the goal was a very delicious one. We need to talk about that. So before we get started, the first thing you need to do when you come into the house at the Kavkas View, you take your shoes off and hit that like button. 1,000 likes is the easiest way to support the channel. And secondly, we are creeping up to 37,000, so I'd greatly appreciate if you subscribe. It's the best way to build a community. Let's get started. Chelsea Football Club this morning released that 2 individuals within the club have received awards. Manager of the month for the month of September is Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca deserves this award because I'm not going to lie to you, we had a very successful month. We've got 1 point against Crystal Palace where we absolutely dominated them and we should have won the game. We beat Bournemouth 1-0 in a tough away fixture that we never usually win. We went away to West Ham and we absolutely annihilated them by getting 3 points with 3 goals. And Brighton was a 4-2 classic where Cole Palmer basically made his mark, telling the world, I'm him. But Enzo Maresca deserves a lot of praise for this, because for me, Bournemouth and West Ham games were absolutely excellent management and great adjustments in game, and he deserves this award because a lot of people were saying he wasn't going to make it past October. Well, guess what? We're midway through October. Donny's still here. So congratulations, Enzo Maresca. Great news. The second person that got an award is Mr. Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer got an award for being player of the month. He's had a very good productive month. He's had 4 games, 5 goals, 1 assist, and led Chelsea to 10 points out of 12. Cole Palmer deserves all the adulations he gets. I've run out of superlatives to say about this man. I've famously said, and I got cooked for it when I said it, I think we wasted his greatest season. Well, he's on track to make me look like the biggest Muppet of all, and I hope I look like the biggest Muppet of all, because that means it's great news for Chelsea, and it means it's great news for Cole Palmer on an individual standpoint as well. So, 2 awards. Congratulations, boys. I'm happy for both of you. When it comes to Rees James looks set to be returning back to full training next week. Matt Law has finally given us a date, and he was talking on the London Blues podcast. He reiterated that Rees James will be back with the team from Monday, hopefully, and rearing up to start basically making a return for the Liverpool game. But I highly doubt he's going to be back for the Liverpool game because the intensity is going to be too big. We've got Malo Gusto. Malo will play in that game. And I also think throwing him into the deep end against Liverpool at Anfield is just a reckless decision. You all know how I stand, right? With Rees James. Rees James is a very, very good player. He's world class. He needs all the time to basically fix his body. The value we're going to get for him if we sell him is just going to be too low for the quality of player that we're selling. If he goes away and bangs somewhere, we are going to heavily regret it. He's our captain. He is a Cobham graduate. He is one of our own. We need to love him. We need to give him time. He ain't breaking down because he wants to. He's breaking down because his body's breaking down with him. Hopefully we found a solution. So the Premier League is changing the way that we're going to view the football games, and purely based on the fact that they're really investing into broadcasting. So for those of you that watch the NBA, you know the NBA absolutely slaps at this. Whether they allow YouTube full highlights to be shown, or whether they have in-game interviews, whether they have cameras within the dressing rooms, whether they have cameras within the huddles, just the little things that breaks the barrier between the players and the fan watching at home. Gives a little bit more excitement, a little bit more storyline. You get to see the emotion. Some players are mic'd up during the game. Well, the Premier League now have introduced 3 things, and the clubs are going to have to pick from the 3. I'm going to tell you the 3, then I'm going to tell you which one I like the most. I can't lie. So number 1 is halftime interview with the player or coach. So somebody at halftime is going to go to the camera, quickly do a quick interview. The second one is players getting subbed off will have to do an interview straight away with a broadcaster. And the final one is a camera in the dressing room. Little bit mad, can't lie to you, But it's gonna be interesting. So let me give you the three scenarios and explain which ones I like the most. I don't like the halftime conversation with a player or the coach. I feel it's one of those where it's played out, you're not gonna get good insight. I watch the NBA, you get generic answers. Yeah, we're gonna try harder, we gotta hustle harder. You're never gonna get that explosive roar of emotion, right? The second one, where there's an interview with a player as soon as he subbed off, that, I can't lie to you, could be absolute popcorn. That could be absolutely wonderful. Someone gets subbed off when they don't want to and says some nonsense. I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. And the final one, a camera in the dressing room. I can imagine that would be very interesting. But at the same time, I do think it's a bit invasive and it could be a little bit frustrating in terms of tactics. You know, how much of the footage is going to be leaked? What is going to be allowed to be shown? I think there's a barrier that I don't want to cross, and that might be it. But for me, that second one, interview straight after you come off, hey, it could be wonderful, I can't lie to you. Someone's gonna slip up and say something that they're not meant to. They're gonna be cussing the other team out, cussing their manager. It's gonna be fun. Now I wanna talk about England, because yesterday, Cole Palmer started for England, and so did our boy, Levi Colwill. Noni Madueke came on. We need to talk about what happened to them. England lost in a 2-1 narrow loss on paper. However, if you actually watch the game, England got cooked. I think Greece had 3 goals that were ruled out for VAR, all tight decisions. And the reality is, the Greeks gave England an absolute humbling. And the reason they did that was because England's team was extremely unbalanced. And I'm going to tell you why it was unbalanced. It was unbalanced because Lee Carsley did the one thing that England managers tend to do. They played the politics game, and this is the first one. England are always playing players based on reputation rather than fits and systems. Rather than saying, this is my system and these are the players that are going to fit it and this is what we're going to do. What he did was, here's my system and I'm going to shoehorn players and these players are going to have to fit in. Let me explain to you. Number one, that double pivot was absolutely horrible. It wasn't a double pivot, it was a single pivot of just Declan Rice. Declan Rice lived on an island by himself, the spacing was all wrong, and what ended up happening was, the Greeks basically realized you have Cole Palmer, Jude Bellingham, and Foden, who basically were rotating out the false 9 role with 2 attacking midfielders. Not one of them was doing any of the defensive due diligence. So if we beat that press, which 9 out of 10 times was narrow, we're through on Declan Rice. And if there's runners from midfield, they're in trouble. And that exactly happened. They literally just beat our press and were through straight at the defense. And what happened? They punished England. But this is where I said Lee Carsley bottled it. Lee Carsley, to play his style of football, you need to look at what he done with his under-21s. With his under-21s, he had 2 people in the double pivot. They're not the best players in the world, but guess what? What can they do? They can retain the ball, keep it ticking over, secure out of possession, and all in all, technicians. Angel Gomez and Jones. Jones from Liverpool. Both players securing the ball, just stuck in when needed, tactically intelligent, and more importantly, the most key one, know their roles. In front of them, they had 4 players in ESR, Cole Palmer, Noni Madueke, Anthony Gordon. Those 4 would rotate around. It was a nice, smooth system, very fluid, well-coached, well-oiled machine. 2 fullbacks, 2 centre-halves, nice. Yesterday, it was a joke. He literally forced players into play. Foden, yeah, you're gonna play. Palmer, you're gonna play. Bellingham, yeah, you're gonna play. Gordon, yeah, you're hype of the month, you're gonna play. Oh, don't forget, there's one more. The one on the left wing, don't worry, Phil, you're gonna have to play as well, geese. 5 players, all of them you're gonna have to play. But you can't do that. It doesn't work. It does not work, because what ends up happening is they're not coached into a system and they just get in each other's ways. And for me, these are the 3 things that have to change if Lee Carsley takes over. Number 1, Pickford can't be your keeper. You need a ball-playing keeper. He does not instill any confidence in anyone with his feet. There's a reason he had James Trafford and they could play out the back. James Trafford might not be a great goalkeeper, he's a good ball-playing keeper. The second thing, Declan Rice can't play. You cannot build attacks with Declan Rice in possession. He doesn't have the calm on the ball, he doesn't have the athleticism on the ball. Off the ball, wonderful. Dribbling with the ball, great. Ability to turn left, right, rotate, beat the man off a dribble and release it quickly, can't do it. He'll beat the man and just keep carrying it. He's like a horse. He'll just keep running. He won't stop. Genuinely. The second thing, and this is the biggest one of all, you need to drop one of Palmer, Foden, or Bellingham. You can't have all three. And for me, Foden and Palmer, technically gifted. They can do the whole system. We see him on a regular basis. Bellingham is a robust midfielder. Late runs into the box. Yes, he's tidy in possession here and there, but he ain't a technician. He doesn't have the vision. He's technically not as great as the other two. Great player though, don't get me wrong, but we just need to understand what we're doing. You fix those three issues and you've got a different team. We didn't have a team yesterday. We had individuals and that was so evident. However, I do understand the notion that, yo, he's had 2 training sessions to implement that. Then play the players that you already know. Angel Gomez should have played. You should have played Noni Madueke right wing. You should have done that. Those little things had to happen, in my personal opinion. They didn't. He didn't play a striker, and it caused a lot of problems. Now we need to talk about the French. Christopher Nkunku played. I think he played left wing. He played very well. Came in, scored an absolutely delicious goal against Israel. He received the ball, 3 men around him. If you remember his goal against Liverpool, the one where he basically had bare man around him, somehow wriggled out and just slapped it in. Did that, 2-1 France, they went on to win 4-1. He is a very good footballer. Every time I see him, I'm impressed. Every time I hear about him, I'm impressed. Every time I see his name on the bench, I'm worried. I'm like, I don't understand why we're doing this. I get it, he doesn't have the work rate. But for me, it's frustrating to see. He's another one that I think with time, he's going to force his way into the first team. So, guys, this was the international time Kavkas View. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. Peace out. I'm out. Have a lovely day. See you around.